To my dear Chanechim, it's hard to know where to start and totally weird that I'm filming this and not sitting there with you in Israel right now. I hope that the last few weeks have been great and that your relationships are finishing off on a good note. It has been an interesting year to say the least, and I am sure that we all have a lot to learn from Shnat 2010. You have heard some really hard facts and learned some really difficult things this year, both about yourselves and about the future of the Jewish people. You should all be proud of who you are returning home as. You are all young leaders with a lot of potential to take the movement down a fantastic path of Hagshama. You are returning home to a very proud Havanam Dror history. Havanam Dror South Africa stood up many times during the last century to be a leader of the Jewish people, whether it be sending Olim to Israel, building kibbutzim, or fighting against the apartheid regime in South Africa. During apartheid, HDSA fought to create a state based on democracy, welfare, equality, and Shivyon Erech Ha'adam. I believe that choice stands before you again. This year, you have been on a journey to define what Zionism is. You have spent the year here in Israel, in the homeland of the Jewish people. I hope that being here and experiencing Israel from a completely different perspective and dealing face to face with the complex reality of Israeli society has raised even more questions for you. Shnat should be a time that raises questions about many different things. Your identity, what it means to be a Jew, what our responsibility over the Jewish people is, what is the role of the movement, what is your role in the movement, and last but not least, your Zionist identities. This is something that I have seen you all struggle immensely with this year. I hope that you continue to struggle with this question because Israel is an important place for the Jewish people and our movement, and that demands of us to deal with it in a very delicate and responsible way. What Colin said to you all is something that I have been saying for most of this year. I understand that he may have more legitimacy to say things because he was just in South Africa, or because he is more respected as an educator, or whatever it may be. I hope that you can all listen to what he said about Judaism, Zionism, and your movement. The biggest problem that I see in regards to this is absolutely the order in which you choose as a movement to educate your Chanechim. There are some steps that are missed out. My thoughts really crystallized during your conflict seminar. I started asking myself, as your madricha, a lot of questions. How do I allow these shnatis and the movement to see a more complex picture? How do I demand of you all to take responsibility over Israel that isn't just through protests or boycott? How can I take you on a process that will shape your Jewish and in turn Zionist identities? How do I lay down the foundations to deal with the Zionist question once so many fundamental steps have already been missed out? And of course, much, much more. This time for me was incredibly difficult. I did feel alienated from the educational process that you were embarking on for many reasons. I hope that you did leave that seminar with a lot of questions, and I hope that you can continue to be critical thinkers and find answers to these questions together. For me, Zionism is to take responsibility over the problems that you have learned about this year. Israel today is morally askew and has many, many problems. But those problems are all mine to fix. Why? Because I am a Jew. The failings of Israel and Israeli society are my failings. If there are not people like us, people from Havanam Dror, both here and in South Africa, who are trying to create an authentic Zionism based on equality, love of our fellow man, and putting human beings in the center of meaning, then this country, this nation, this people will only go one way. It is the easier option to stand on the sideline and shout profanity from the periphery. But Havanam Dror demands of us not to take the easier road, but the right road, and unfortunately this is usually the harder road. Zionism is to create a state that we can be proud of, one that is based on peace with its neighbours, respect for its minority population, and one that is a light unto the nations. You are all going back to the movement to be educators. This does not mean that you need all the answers. This means that you are committing yourselves to continue an educational process together with your Chanechim. This means that you are going to ask questions with your fellow Bogrim and your Chanechim. Havanam Dror, whose is it? There are many different people who are attracted to Havanam Dror, and every single Chavara or Chaver has a path. It is the movement's older Chavarim who have taken responsibility in helping the younger Chavarim find their path in this world. Havanam Dror exists for many reasons, and I don't think one is more valid than another. A young girl who feels socially isolated in the beginning of year 4, if by the end of the year she has gained more confidence, more friends, and more skills to apply to the society around her, she is a Magshima of our movement. a first-year Bulgarian just back from Schnapp who works tirelessly in his Missy Ma, being a madrich, canvassing and taking responsibility over the ken, he is a magshim of our movement. A Chavira who perceives Israel as her homeland, sees the main underlying problems the state has today and sees its failings as her responsibility to fix, she is a magshima of our movement. But whose is Haben Draw? The role of leadership is to produce more leaders, not followers. It is the role of the madrich to set out the process that the chanachim should call their own. Decisions are easy, processes are hard. Leadership's role is to encourage empowerment to create a change in the world. Haben Draw is whoever chooses to take responsibility over it. There becomes a time during a chaver's life that they are going to cease being a part of the movement and become a product of it. What do I mean by this? Taking what they learnt from the movement in skills, but more importantly in values, and applying it to the world and society around them. But it's those members of the movement who choose to be a part of the movement who set the priorities and direction of the movement. What defines taking responsibility over the movement? I leave that question to you, but I request you answer me in your actions. Look around you. These are the people who are going to help you shape your revolution. I'm going to miss you all a lot. Know that I am here for anything that you may need, and I hope that we can all continue to form a relationship because you are all important to me. Watching you all transform into the people that you are today has been an absolute pleasure to be a part of. You all have so much to be proud of, and much, much more to look forward to. I genuinely hope that you will continue to allow me to be a part of your ongoing process. You are all already magshimim of a very proud and wonderful movement called Haben Draw. The question now is, what more do you need to feel fulfilled? I am very excited to help you find your answers. I'll miss you a lot.